Hello everybody, I'm Roadblock and this is a Raid Shadow Legends video. And we're not alone today. We've got Bront here, first place in the Hell Hades challenge right now. So I wanted to learn from the master, but let's start with how you doing today, Bront?
Doing pretty good. It's been a fun session, as I'm sure we'll have videos dropping at some point in time. I had some fun shard pulls. Hopefully, you had some fun shard pulls. I see you have a ton of mystery shards and only mystery shards on your account. So I'm sure you've pulled some stuff. So I'm sure your fans will be looking forward to that as well.
I did pull a couple. I actually pulled them off camera because I've been a little, not in the best of health lately, a little sick. But this was my big pull. I think I pulled this. This video came out. So,
Yeah, I saw that.
um, yeah, that's been a big
Congratulations.
pull. I'm getting ready to build him. He's almost completely mastered. That's where I've been leveling him, and he'll be built probably today. So, um, but yeah, I just wanted to get you on the channel here and kind of get the tips and tricks from first place. I'm gonna pull it over here right here so we can see Bront right there, first place right now in the tournament. What do you think, just off the top of your head, has been the biggest key to your success? Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because it's one of these weird things where, I'm looking at the champs I had throughout a lot of this event, and up until I pulled Geomancer, I very well felt that I was falling behind because you had people pulling Harimas, or you had, I think Dante's got like 4 legendaries now that he's pulled, or something really ridiculous. He's absolutely nuts. Hell Hades pulled the double as well when he pulled the 1+1 and got 2 good legendaries, and it's like I'm not necessarily looking for legendaries because legendaries are great, but legendaries also are really hard to build on an account like this. So you either want legendaries that don't need books, like your Calvalax there is amazing because he doesn't actually need the books. I mean, they help, but he doesn't need them to do what you want him to do, and he's very flexible without them, which is great. And and the epics have just been. I mean, booking my epics has been painful because it feels like there's never enough books. And the 3 epics I booked, and I've only booked 3 epics, have been Tagore, who isn't that hard to book, but I missed his A3 with every book until I could finally only hit his A3. So I've got him fully A1 booked. I have a new King Tagore. It is awesome.
Cool.
Not really, but but I got a speed up pretty early, so that was helpful. And then Ugo basically needed every single book she could possibly get, and she's a big reader as well. And then Geomancer needs, like, he is a big reader as well, and I think he is literally fully booked, which means he's got 5 books on his A1 and 5 books on his A2 and 6 books on his A3. I think he needs like 16 books. He's actually a huge reader, and it took forever to get everything in there. So it's been difficult from that end, and it feels like it's been rough. But at the same point in time, I've got a Geomancer now. Geomancer solves a lot of problems, and he has done a lot of work. Um, and I've gotten kind of lucky on gear. My gear is not like, endgame amazing, but I've gotten a couple of 6-star speed boots in good sets recently. In fact, I have a pair of 6-star speed boots with speed ascended in the speed set, which is
Very,
just
very nice. Yeah.
yeah, so it's just like, okay, win, I cannot complain about that at all. Um, and they're, of course, on one of my fastest champions I've got on the account right now, so that's awesome. And, it's just been, for me, I think the biggest thing, which I wouldn't have thought was the case, but because I've been so focused on training 6 stars up early on and just kind of following the Arbiter missions, between getting rewards from the Arbiter missions, because you get the 75 gems for some of the stuff you're looking at there, and getting a bunch of stuff done. Yeah, you're pretty much right around where I'm at. I'm at the I finished the Infinity bonus, I finished the Arcane Keep, and I finished the Spirit Keep one. So I'm waiting for Magic to open tomorrow. Then I'll wait for Force to open, which unfortunately means I'm then gonna have to wait for Void next weekend to open.
Hmm.
But that's fine because the next one after that, that's going to be a stumbling point, is going to be getting my Great Hall to 8. and I've
Mm-hmm.
got 150 things right now. Yeah, almost 200, and I need 800. So it's going to be a little while before I get to that. So I don't mind that one slowing down just a little bit. It's certainly nice to get the rewards, but I'm going to have to run an awful lot of the potion keeps to get those going.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but generally, one of the things I found that's been super helpful is the fact that I've been a higher level than most people. I'm level 54 right now, but getting to level 52 really early and level 50 really early and level 45 really early gave me a little bit of an advantage because I got into CVC earlier than some people did because some people didn't have this stuff done fast enough to get into CVC.
Mm-hmm.
Some people couldn't join guilds fast enough. I got into Siege, although to be fair, we didn't actually run the first Siege, so it didn't actually help that much. But I was still into Siege by the time Siege was around for most people, so that was helpful. Getting into tag early, I think actually helps because you get access to that extra energy in the tag shop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Getting into live arena is actually been odd. In fact, I've got some videos coming out on live arena, but the live arena chests give you 5 and 6 star gear.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
daily wins, they're awesome. That's extra energy as well. So it's certainly a struggle. And oh, you're in silver already on your account.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Yeah, I've not pushed up to silver yet because I've regularly found I've been finding people like multiple empowered um, mythicals. I can counter that. So it's one of these things where like I will go on a streak where I can beat absolutely everybody that I come across and I can get my 5 wins or more easily.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll come across times where I'm I cannot possibly get to the 5 wins, so I'll get to 3 and cut my losses and stop pushing anymore just to not push myself out of bronze and into silver because I think silver is going to get gross again where you're going to kind of have to lean on hopefully getting the bots occasionally because you've
Mm-hmm.
got enough of the good accounts that are kind of in silver that you're going to struggle with that as well. But I think getting a lot of stuff early has really been the big deal. But getting those 6 stars, 6 stars really empower your account to do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's so much great advice there. To be completely honest, just you did mention that you have another video coming out on Live Arena, but what I found, and one of the reasons I'm able to be in silver, is just 10 gems a day. That gets me my 5. I view this as being very, very important. I did get one of the legendary books from it, which I've been told from a lot of people they say it doesn't exist, but I managed to get it. And then of course I think I really value primal shards. I think primals are quite important. They're one of the few shards that I feel like we can YOLO and not feel bad about it because you know other than the fact that we did have that 2 times mythic or 2 times epic and legendary, we're not going to see, and I don't expect to see a 2 times mythical anytime in our
No, and even if
event.
you do, even if you've got 5 primal shards, the chance by the time that comes around, it's because it's probably not going to come around this month. So it might come around next month. So if we happen to have one in the third month where we've got 4 or 5 primal shards, pulling a mythical then is still not going to transform your account that quickly that you're going to be able to turn around an account that is struggling with just
Yeah.
happening to pull the mythical. So it'll be good. It'll definitely give you a jump in power. But, if I pulled a mythical now on my account, it would probably help me win the event, more than I'm currently winning necessarily.
Yeah.
If I pull a mythical 2 weeks before we end the free to play challenge, it's already everything else is kind of built. I've got my team settled more, and it's not the same power level jump as when you're in a really, really early account.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think
Um.
that's one of the things that have actually helped me a lot with the account is looking for rares that are usable and useful has really proven to me to be super helpful. I don't know where you are with faction wars. That's certainly one of the things I have kind of focused on being a faction wars guy anyway. Yeah, you're pretty far back with the
Yeah.
175. I'm at 340, and I suspect I can knock out probably 10 more today, which would be good because it gets me some chickens. Um, the basically the few that I don't have are basically the ones I don't have any epics or I don't have 5 champions in. But
Mm-hmm.
what I've generally been doing is I've identified at least one rare in every faction, so I never miss on the rare in a faction wars faction anymore. When I pull epics, epics go into the vaults, even if they're not good epics.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the epics are going to get some gear on them to at least do faction wars kind of okay. The rares I've been prioritizing are rares with AoE attacks because at least for floors 1 through 3, a rare with level 20 something with an AoE attack, like a prosecutor there, for example, an Ashwalker is actually not a bad option either.
Mm-hmm.
Galek is actually a good one. Honestly, the starter champions are good to build, not to build high necessarily, although I have a Galek that'll be 5 stars soon. But you know, they do a decent amount of damage with minimal investment because they're built to be the starter champions.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you take them to 4 stars and they're a good damage dealer for a long time in your faction wars before you can replace them with better champions. Maybe they even go to 5 stars and eventually they become 5 star chickens. That's actually one of the things where, again, luck kind of has played a little bit of role into what's going on, and it's going to play a role into it, which is why I don't know if I'm ever going to be the end #1 guy, because somebody could absolutely blow me away with some lucky shard pulls and some soul pulls and some gear, and suddenly they're cruising and I can't quite do it. But I got a 4 star soul for Galek right after I pulled a Galek. Well, 4 star soul is huge because that's extra crit damage, plus that's extra attack, and it gives you a good nuker with very minimal effort. So yeah, I got a 4 star soul for him. In fact, I actually purchased the 5 star improvement soul for him because I figured I might get him to 5 star anyway. So I'll have 5 stars on my Galek in Orc Crypts, which goes really well with my Tagore. But I also had pulled a Jorg and I also pulled a Trumbor in Orcs.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So basically, I had those 3 epics before I had Galek. I said, all right, so my orcs aren't going to die, but they're not going to do any damage. And then I pulled a Galek with a soul, and it's like, okay, there's my damage. I'm solved. I just need to throw some other random person in here, and we're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and food has been an interesting way to deal with it too, because like what I've also been looking for is when I'm building food, I'm looking at faction wars and seeing who is coming up in the next day or two. And if I'm making a chicken, well, if I've got a 4 star chicken, that 4 star chicken, if it's in a faction that I need a chicken in or need somebody, doesn't even have to have gear, but they need to live in there. Well, a 4 star champion that's even unascended, ungeared level 1 is better than a 2 star or 3 star champion
Mm-hmm.
from a survivability standpoint by a huge, huge margin. So that 4 star chicken gets a little bit of extra XP, might even level up once or twice, which can be great for champion training. But I've now possibly gotten, especially if I'm 5 starring floors I wasn't 5 starring beforehand, I might have gotten 10 faction war stars out of a chicken.
Yeah, absolutely. I've tried to do that where and when I can. Um, Faction wars is a priority, but I think because I've focused so hard on really gearing, like my Alice is very very well geared. I think we've talked about that.
Mhm.
We've definitely talked about that off camera, but um I struggle because I need a lot of silver to get this gear up, right? And so I'm selling a lot of weaker 4 star gear and stuff. So I don't have the gear to supply my faction wars, and that's a mistake on my part. So that's an area where I could definitely improve. I do have some pretty good faction wars champions as well, and I think I've been waiting for something to do with my gems. I thought maybe an event, a tournament, something that would really strike me and be like, okay, cool, I'll put my gems into that. But I think the time has come on the account now to just start leveling up. Maybe just getting people 4 star, right? Getting them up to 40 and taking them into faction wars and trying to grind a few levels out down there too.
Yeah, and they don't have to be in level 40. Oftentimes it's been, I need a few levels on this champion. I'll throw 3 brews into him.
Mm-hmm.
And nice, easy, gets them to about level 20 is decent enough. I really like Selena Nightcloak, by the way. She's one of the rares I've actually booked
Mm-hmm.
because if she becomes the only burner I've got other than Geomancer, she's got a 3 target random burn. She may end up in my Hydra teams, which of course is something we're going to talk about on our channel, on my channel later on.
Hmm.
We're going to talk about some Hydra stuff early on, but you know, she's fun. She does some decent damage. I've got her 4 stars. I've got Prosecutor, I think, which you've got there listed for the elves as 4 stars as well. I don't have an Elhane, and I don't have an Heiress as somebody I build as well. But
Hmm.
in fact, my recent 6 star is I 6 starred a Vergis recently because I got Vergis randomly, and I 6 starred him, and partially because I was looking at him as like maybe Vergis will actually give me somebody I can use in Clan Boss, which is where I'm kind of worried about. My Clan Boss team does good because I've got Geo and does a ton of damage, but I don't have a decrease attack. Sorry, yeah, Vergis, that's the right one. I was
Yep.
thinking that's not Ethos. No, it's Vergis. They look. If I pull an Ethos, I'd be happy in a different time. But
Yeah.
um, but yeah, the Ally Protect is great. The problem is you can't speed tune him because he randomly throws increased speed on people.
Hmm.
Well, he doesn't randomly; it's a specific target, but he targets somebody with increased speed, and I can't count on it to be the same person every time for a team. So it's hard for me to tune that. So I can't tune him with the Ally Protection. Plus, I got to figure out who's the one to come out. I mean, Kale is an option, but Kale is, I think, my number 2 damage dealer most of the
Hmm.
time. Could be Sun Wukong, but then I lose Brimstone. And that's one of the things too. I don't have Alice in my clan boss team. I've got Sun Wukong because I got Brimstone on both Alice and Sun Wukong. So
Okay.
I built Alice with Helm Smasher for Arena to focus on getting those arena medals, and I've left Sun Wukong in my clan boss team. And to be fair, I like having him in the clan boss team because on Magic it gives a good stun target. Because I don't
Hmm.
mind if he dies occasionally because he gets himself right back up constantly
Yeah.
anyway. So it ends up not being a big deal. It certainly would be nice if he had a bigger than 1 star soul, but again, I at least get Brimstone regular enough with him in the team, so it's not been too bad. Um, I did actually pull some interesting champions, so I'm gonna kind of hold off on them because I've got that shard pull video coming out. But it's
Yeah.
I've got some clan boss answers I think now from that. Got some interesting arena answers as well. High Katoon was another one I was going to bring to 60, and Vergis kind of jumped the line because I felt he was going to be good. And that's the other thing I've been looking forward to too, which I think is going to be fun for Doom Tower. I managed to push up the Doom Tower floor 35 in hard, which was really,
In the
really
last
impressive.
rotation.
Last rotation, yeah.
Yeah.
So I cleared all of normal and got to 35 on hard, which I didn't expect to get past 29 because that's the another spider. But live on stream last night, I just happened to get all the RNG lining up and did it. And it
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, in that case, let's kind of go a little further. And I got to 35. And then floor 36 has double Hegemon to start off with, and I just get absolutely annihilated early on, and it just does not go well.
Did you,
Um,
did you clear normal?
yes, I cleared normal.
Okay. I never got past another spider.
Yeah, Geo does a lot of work for that. But again, having full books on Tagore and full books on Ugo as well, I've got a decentish cleanse.
Hmm.
And then Alice just hits really hard. And honestly,
Yeah.
Monkey King is actually really good in that as well. Because once that's actually how I got past another spider on hard, is I had Sun Wukong is faster than my Alice. So Sun Wukong would go before Alice, strip all the counterattacks and steal them, and then Alice would nuke down the rest of the spiderlings. And even if for some reason he didn't steal one of the counterattacks, which was annoying, but it could happen, then I've got the burns on there as well, so I get some counterattack damage from the burns for the Geo, and then he's got a counterattack, and it worked out fairly well. It was definitely seat of the pants. I'd lost my reviver. I was basically counting on Sun Wukong having revived to do just enough damage, and I think the burn tick was what did it. And if it hadn't burn ticked, he would have attacked me and probably just killed me because he didn't have brimstone and Geo was down at that point in time. So it was super tight, but we managed to get it done, which was great. But for the next rotation, we've got Bommel. Well, Bommel's a pain. You've got a Lady Annabelle, which is awesome. She's going to be hard to build, I think, for hard because you need good regeneration gear to really kind of make her tick properly. She heals herself fairly well, so that's good, but she's going to be hard to do for hard. She'll at least give you somebody on normal without too much of a problem, though. Um, And maybe you have some good regeneration gear, or maybe you don't have any regeneration gear.
I thought I did, and I apparently don't.
You might have to put a bunch of immortal gear on her if you can too. But again, you need her to be somewhat reasonably fast because she needs to heal outside of her passives when she can too. Doesn't mean you won't be able to use her. And honestly, for the normal side, they've nerfed the bombs well enough where it shouldn't be too hard, and even possibly hard 10. I got a Master Butcher, who certainly is not the cheat code for it as much as Lady Annabelle.
Mm-hmm.
Master Butcher plus Geomancer for me will be a Bommel tackle. So I think that will be fairly easy to get through Bommel most of the way up. High Katoon was somebody I was definitely looking forward to getting because High Katoon is going to be key for me to beat Dark Fae. And so that's definitely helpful because you need the increased speed really to kind of outpace the Dark Fae, and then you're going to be able to do enough damage, and you're probably going to need 2 damage dealers, and other turn meter control is going to be helpful as well. So that's a rough one for a lot of people as well, but that's one of the most important ones to farm is that Dark Fae because
Yeah.
lethal gear is going to be so huge in this. Now I don't think we're going to get enough lethal gear to really have it make a difference, but if you get lucky, that'd be great.
What stage of Doom Tower hard is the first one for
It's 40, 80, 120. So Bommel is 10.
yeah.
It's Bommel and then either Griffin or Scarab, and then Scarab or Griffin. Griffin is going to be magic, Scarab is going to be spirit, and then 40 will be Dark Fae.
Yeah, if we can get to Dark Fae, and that's a big if. I only got to about floor 5 before. I don't remember what floor 6 was last rotation, but I could not get past it on hard. Like I said, normal, I got stuck on the spider. At the what was it, floor 120, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was rough. Oh, speaking of, here's my rankings. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was Doom Tower is another area where the unfortunate thing about Doom Tower is that I think that's really where you can make a big difference in the score because I can't make those points up. You know, there's no way that Doom Tower rotation won't come around again in the lifetime of this event. So whatever point advantage that people gained in Doom Tower this rotation, those are their points for good. So
Yeah, it's the good news is I like the scoring for Doom Tower. The Doom Tower scoring is not unreasonable. It's only 1 point per floor and 20 points for every 10th floor, 20 extra points for every 10th floor because of obviously that's the bosses, so that's the important part for it. And then the secret rooms are also worth 10 or 20 points, and then it's double for hard. So, yes, I got a bunch of extra points for getting up to level 35, but it's also in the grand scheme of things it's 100 points ish, maybe 200 points at most that I've gotten over some people. That's not a gap that you can't make up, but it's a gap you do have to now make up in your case, for example.
Yeah. Okay, so I did have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
And my first one is going to be where are you putting your area points? Your area bonus points?
I put 3 of them in Hydra to start in the core 3, which are your speed, your ignore defense, and your crit damage. Actually, I put 4 in there because I also put 1 in accuracy as well because accuracy is certainly problematic, and that's actually one of the things I think with the affinity bonuses too. Is I know that there's a lot of ways to get accuracy now that we didn't used to have beforehand, but accuracy is still one of those things. If you don't have enough accuracy, you're literally not doing the job you need to do. And having the extra accuracy in other places allows me to build champions that are sketchier in accuracy because I can make up for it in these bonuses, which means I can then, if I can get 5 or 10 extra speed on a champion, or maybe I can get them to 100% crit rate where I couldn't do that with the accuracy beforehand. Very, very important from that end. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it. I'm already at Fire Knight 20. I've been at Fire Knight 20 for a while. I just put my Cold Heart in my Fire Knight 20 team, and that brought it down from 8 minutes to 4 minutes, which was very nice. But that's one of the things, like I'm farming that right now for Savage Gear because, hey, 2x Savage Gear, let's see what I can get. That
Yeah.
can't hurt because my Savage Gear is absolutely crap right now, so I can't get anybody in Savage. Um, then from there, I have to think about it. For the challenge, I am tempted to maybe put it in Clan Boss, but I know that if I put it in Clan Boss, that's one of those things that is really good until you can get to Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. And after you've gotten past Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, it is a pain. It is also annoying to tune if you do speed.
Yeah.
And honestly, Ignore Defense doesn't bring as much as you might want to, because Ignore Defense is good at the Demon Lord, but it's not amazing because the Demon Lord
Yeah.
doesn't actually have incredibly huge defense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's ultimately not as impactful long term. But
And it's
if,
far
like,
more
for example,
expensive.
yeah, they're not, yeah, they're grade 3, so I guess it's expensive Hydra actually, so that makes some sense. So Hydra is certainly one of the focuses. Maybe Fire Knight, just because Fire Knight is such an important dungeon, I think, in this event, because regeneration gear still very good,
Mm-hmm.
stun gear still very good, crit damage gear is going to be usable once you can get through some stuff. And obviously, Savage gear, as we talked about, absolutely amazing. Potion keeps makes no sense. I'm already farming those at 20. They're a waste of points in the first place. Faction Wars, kind of tempting a little bit for this, but Faction Wars becomes wasted really quickly, so that's kind of unfortunate. Um, I'm not focused on Ice Golem. Ice Golem sets are good, but they're good for late game once I've solved Hydra, so they're probably
Mm-hmm.
not an early focus for this account. Dragon, yeah, Dragon's Dragon. I'm on Dragon 24 already. I don't need help in Dragon.
Yeah.
And Doom Tower is what else is left. So Doom Tower and then Centranos, but I'm not really focused on
No.
Centranos, although that's another thing I have gotten some points on that I think people are missing out on. I've cleared 12 floors on hard Centranos,
Wow.
and I've cleared 20 on normal. And the only reason I cleared hard stuff is because I didn't realize I was on hard, and I just ran the first couple of missions and was like, man, these are kind of rough, but I'm getting them done. And it's just a matter of having gotten lucky with the champions that we got. The Ogrin are in a lot of these dungeons. The Orcs are in a lot of these dungeons. The Dark Elves are in a lot of these dungeons. Well, that's Kale, that's Ugo, that's Tagore,
I don't have the
and
blessings though.
you know, yeah, the blessing one I actually managed to get early because I don't know who I had that had a blessing on this one here. I did have Ugo and I do have one on Kale, and somebody else had a blessing that managed to let me do this first blessing one on
Mm-hmm.
normal or hard. But yeah, Bommel just is not happening because it's so limited with what you need to do with that. And then he's stunning you, and then he's bombing you, and then you're dying, and it's bad, and everyone's panicking, and you're screaming, "Oh, the humanity!" And it does not go very well.
Yeah.
Um, but let's just see here. Curse City. Here it is on normal. I did it on normal, not on hard. And on normal, oh, that's right, because I have a 2-star on the Monkey King. So I had two-star
Yeah.
on Kale, 2-star on Monkey King, 2-star on Ugo. That was 6. And then I actually have 2-star on my Cold Heart, or 1-star on my Cold Heart as well. So I've actually got more than enough. I actually have one on Filja, who's actually available on that dungeon as well. I don't really have her built out well, but I've got it on her, so that's something. But yeah, it's extra points and it's extra stuff, which is kind of nice. And yeah, that Ascension one blocking you off definitely hurts because again, I
Yeah.
was able to clear everything behind that. That's not a boss. And I actually cleared
Yeah.
that Nether Spider too. I actually cleared that Nether Spider up there on normal too.
I really only have Ugo for it, but
Yeah,
I'll give it a shot. I don't know if I tried it or not.
it never
Be
hurt. I mean, it's not like it's anything costing you any energy or anything like that.
exactly, yeah.
Um, you don't have Sun Wukong? No, you don't.
No, I went Taragi. Yeah.
Yeah, because Sun Wukong is in that one as well, and that makes it easy because he'll strip
Mm-hmm.
off the counterattacks, and then that's suddenly an easy one. Um, and in fact, that I also have an Occult Brawler. So Occult Brawler takes all those poisons, turns his A2 into a massive hit, and cleanses all the poisons off himself. So
Mm-hmm.
he's not built to do much of anything, but he exists and he helps with that a little bit. So
I was wondering if what Calvalax would have been able to do against the spider if I could have built him a little faster. If I didn't get sick and kind of I still spent my energy and used my resources every day, but all my energy just went into Minotaur instead of, and I wasn't like pushing content. So I'm a
Mhm.
little behind in that regard, but I was curious about what he would be able to do if he just replaced all of the poisons that with continuous heals on himself. So
Yeah,
I will.
he's got an option for it, and then yeah, I mean, you'll have Nether Spider again in the third rotation, so that could be
Mhm.
interesting for him. He could basically effectively be your nuker because he's got an AoE
Yeah.
nuke, I believe, that hits fairly hard as well.
Hmm.
So you're still going to have to deal with the fact that the spiders are counterattacking. So if he's not one-shotting the spiders, that's going to be a problem. But hopefully he'll be able to
She
one-shot
usually
the
can.
spiders. And then that's of course where we bring Alice as well.
Yep.
But between bringing Alice and having him being able to kind of heal himself and not die, you can just keep some extra damage up. So yeah, that should be kind of fun.
No, I was
I'm not
excited
being
to
an old
try
metal
it.
Dora.
I was excited to try it, and I mean, I when I first got sick, I was like, yeah, I can try and do stuff, and I did a stream and a collab, and then I haven't touched. I haven't made any content in like 3 days, other than today. Got 2 collabs today, so yeah, it's been a rough couple of days for me, but I'm excited to get caught up. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I mean, great, really great advice. I definitely, I've said this before. I've used you as kind of my guide. It would be really funny where I'd see that Bront did something, and I'd be like, okay, well, Bront did it. I could probably do that, because you talk yourself out of things, and I
Mhm.
see Bront did it, and I'm like, okay, well, let me give that a shot. Let me try, and that's when I would find like, oh, look at me, I also did 8 stages of X, Y, and Z, and so it's been you've been a good barometer, I guess, for me to kind of figure out where I want to put my time and my energy.
Yeah, and I think that's actually one of the things that's I like to push the boundaries just a little bit here or there, but I also am pretty good about knowing what teams I need, what type of stats I need, looking at team construction for stuff. I mean, that's why, for example, we were talking about rares. I pulled Bolesmith Flannan, and I got him to five
Hmm.
stars early. In fact, I actually thought he might have been one of my first 6 stars at one point in time because he is absolutely a beast. But he's a Sylvan Watcher,
Ah.
and he brings ally attack. He brings decreased turn meter on his A1. He brings decreased speed, even if it's a small version, on an AoE on his A2. And he's a defense-based champion, so he's actually kind of tanky.
Hmm.
And if you depend, you can actually get an extra turn with his passive on the A2 about 50% of the time if he lands enough of the decreased speed. He's actually pretty nuts for a rare.
Yeah.
And he's been helpful. And I haven't needed to push him beyond the 5 stars, and he's no longer in any of my dungeon teams, other than he shows up occasionally in some of my Iron Twins teams because decreased speed is helpful, and against force, at least I use him on force. But he's been a good rare to have invested in, but it was also nice to have gotten a couple of epics that, okay, I don't need to invest in this dude much anymore. But he's still in the running for if I need a force 6 star once we finally get to that to be able to do a fully ascension 6 star. If I have to pick a Bowsmith Flannan, I could do worse than somebody who has actually been regularly helping me in my account. And I'm
Yeah.
certainly not going to do a Relic Keeper because
Mm-mm.
no. Um, I mean, for you, maybe Alika, because Alika is actually not too bad in Clan Boss. She can be a decent Clan Boss damage dealer because she's got the decreased defense and weaken, I think, doesn't she?
No, she doesn't have any of that. I think you're
Oh,
thinking. Are you thinking of her sister?
I'm thinking one of the sisters then. It's not
Yeah,
Alika.
yeah. Alika is actually Alice, but we not Alice. So she's the one
Yeah.
that has the turn meter cooldown
Okay.
or increase, and then a single target that ignores defense. I mean, she's basically Alice's kit.
Mhm.
Um, I wonder if it's Sakara that you're thinking of. That's
Maybe
her
it's Sakaro.
sister.
I know one of them is really good for Clan Boss, and maybe it's still Alika because Alika I think can hit pretty hard.
She can hit pretty
Uh,
hard.
she's magic, so she's out there Jotun. I
Yeah,
thought
Sakara has the
she just has
weekend.
the weekend.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
So, yeah, Alika can hit pretty hard. I am leaning towards her being the force champion that I build because I think she'd be a good nuker for me.
mhm,
My biggest issue right now is I don't have in live arena. If they ban Alice, I'm done basically. Sometimes I can sneak out a win. I'll pick Morag first, and then if I usually get to go first because people don't build a lot of speed still, and then
Mhm.
I'll ally attack with Morag, and if Kale gets selected in the ally attack, he hits relatively hard with the A1, usually enough to kill somebody. Then I get to do the AoE strengthen. He gets to do his AoE. So sometimes I can steal a win in live arena. Um, if they ban my Alice, but most of my wins come when they're foolish enough not to ban my Alice, and they get very, very surprised by how effective she is. So,
Yeah, that's where having the Monkey King is very, very helpful. Is I
mm-hmm.
basically got two arena nukers that are both a threat in arena, and everyone knows the Monkey King is a pain, so they're banning the Monkey King over my Alice, and my Alice is the
Mm-hmm.
better nuker.
Yes, yeah. I do wish that I had gone, that's one thing that I would like to look back on and say, I wish I had maybe gone with a legendary over Taragi. Taragi has been a huge help. I think he's one of the reasons I'm finding as much clan boss success as I am. I am on a 3-key nightmare, close to a 2-key sometimes on depending on affinity, but um I am very thankful that I got him. I think it's kind of unfortunate because I actually pulled him as well. So I that kind of,
That's bonus HP from the Faction Guardians. So, like I said, I've got two Geomancers. I got Geomancer. My next epic was also Geomancer, which is like great if this is a long-term account because you can use two Geomancers for all kinds of fun stuff, but not really what I'm looking for in this account
yeah.
right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'd gladly take one of your Geomancers.
Oh,
But yeah, I do wish that I had gone maybe Wukong or even well, to be honest, I mean, hindsight, right? I wish I had gone Ellen Arl. I mean, just imagine having her.
Eleanor was a link, so we couldn't have used that. We had to use the Taragi Ugo link.
I could have swore there was a promo code one too. I might be wrong about that, but I
No,
thought there
yeah,
was a.
there's a link for Eleanor, and then there was the other one was Sigmund, and Sigmund's the only one I kind of look at and is like that would have been an interesting different option versus the Monkey King because he brings so much good utility early mid game, but
Mhm.
he definitely falls out compared to the Monkey King late game. So
Hold on, I gotta convince myself here. Yeah, okay. I might have been wrong about that, but um yeah, still even well then we don't have to talk about her then. But yeah, I do wish that I had Taragi's been great for me, but I definitely think I would have had better success with like in your case a Sun Wukong I think would have made a very big difference for me early on. Um but yeah, well, we've been talking for quite a bit here. I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much for coming on the channel. Thank you for giving me some advice here and different like techniques and strategies that I am going to implement. I think my big focus now is going to be faction wars and getting that taken care of, getting that locked in. Start building gear and building champions that are going to give me faction wars value. I did want to ask really quickly though. You said that you did Fire Knight before Cold Heart. What were you doing in Fire Knight?
Fire Knight was. I mean, to be fair, I was at stage 18 in Fire Knight before I pulled Geomancer. Geomancer helped me bring it up to stage 20.
Okay,
But before that, it was Tagore, Ugo, Bowsmith Flannan,
that's right. Yeah.
and Kale and Alice. And Kale's got the 4-hitter, so that was very helpful. Yes, it's on a 3-turn cooldown, but he does have the 4-hitter, so that was actually very, very helpful. And then Alice has got the 3-hitter, and then her A2 can actually steal some turn meter, not steal, but can drop turn meter.
Yep.
So I literally turned off her A3, so she was either triple hitting with the A1, or she was doing the A2 with the turn meter control. because I wanted to make sure I was getting through the shield regularly. Bowsmith Flannan brought me the decreased speed, even if it was a light one, and did some turn meter stuff, and did the ally attack, which was at least 3 hits because he's got a double hitter A1. And then my Ugo and Tagore were both like 215, 220 speed.
Okay.
So they basically kept the team going. And I turned off Tagore's revive against the boss because between his heal on his A2 and Ugo's heal on her A3, I wasn't dying against the boss, so I didn't need the revive. That's
Okay.
actually something I've had to change with Coldheart because Coldheart is squishy. Although, to be fair, she's now finally level 50 as a 6-star, so she's finally starting to be able to survive some of these hits here or there. But she's super squishy because she has to have an accuracy chest to get her built properly because she's not easy to build for an early game account, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I did have an Armiger in the wings that I've been kind of working on because I figured he might have been useful for Scarab, but now that I've got Vergis, I don't know if I'm going to need the Armiger. But Armiger is another good option because of that turn meter decrease, and with Morag, I think that will be very helpful as well. You're just going to have to pretty much make sure that your Morag and your Armiger are just fast enough to kind of help control that turn meter. And then
Mhm.
the rest of it is Alice has got a triple hitter, and then Ugo and Tagore to kind of keep everybody alive as much as possible is probably the best way to kind of tackle that. But you can get to 8. You probably, with your team you've got right now, assuming they're generally fast enough. And to be fair, I think my slowest champion in that team was 190 maybe, or 180. I've generally had a really fast team, which is something I prioritize on a lot of these accounts. But that is really probably the way to go, and just keeping everyone generally fast, getting able to land some of that turn meter control. If you can do enough hits to get through the shield, that helps. That's where blessings help, and that's actually where I think champions like Armiger have finally been power crept a little bit too. He can't get a blessing at all
Yeah.
because you can't put him on below rares. So yeah, if you got turn meter on there, that's great. Unfortunately, my guess is you're not going to get around to him turn meter again. Maybe with the increased speed, that might be the case.
A little bit on
Um,
the Alice there too. I accidentally clicked this. I was not intending to do this whatsoever. Yeah, Armiger isn't even
and
leveled
Armiger's
right
down.
now.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he's only level 5. Like, I literally wasn't trying to do it. It was a misclick on my part, and I was like, well, I've spent the energy. I got to try it. So,
Yep. Rip
but
Armiger.
yeah, I think
Yep.
I 5-starred him, and then I never leveled him. I think getting him leveled up, maybe re-gearing him a bit. I also think I got, um, shoot, I didn't. I thought I got a better what I can do is I think I want to put the Talon on my Alice, and I can
And
put
then give that
the
to Armiger. Yeah, that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. And then this I'm thinking about putting I got this today. I'm thinking about putting the journal on maybe Tagore for the
Yeah,
healing boost. Yeah.
that's probably a good option for him. Either that or Haikatoon if you're using a Haikatoon, which to be fair is an interesting option for the Fire Knight boss. If you
Mhm.
can survive your way to the boss, she gives you the increased speed buff instead of Tagore and a speed boost on a
Yes.
3-turn cooldown if you can book her. She's still a very good champion. I mean, she's only been power crit, but that aura as well, that's extra 19% speed too.
Yeah.
Calblax may actually be interesting in that too, because doesn't he have a double hitter A1?
He has a single
A
hitter
single.
A1. He's got this for extra hits, but they got to place the poisons, which won't happen on Fire Knight. So I
Yeah.
don't know if he makes the cut on Fire Knight, but um, I was intrigued by his speed aura and seeing if that would be enough. I just don't know who gets cut in that particular team to make it
Mhm.
work. So I think I'm better off with the Morag Armiger approach, and I think Alice with the triple hitter, and like you said, turn off this, just get some turn meter from this, get a lot of damage from this brimstone procs. It's not going to be a super fast run, but I think we're going to find success there. So that's my game plan. Just got to build up the Armiger, and I think I'm going to get another. I think I'd really like to pull a force PvP champion. Obviously we have Alika, but I really need another nuker for live arena so that if they ban my Kale, I'm not complete, or ban my Alice, I'm not completely screwed. But
Well, you do have, I mean, you have Magnar there, so Magnar certainly could be a good option for you, and that's pretty much what he does. So
yeah.
Magnar's definitely good. He doesn't really need the books either. They're definitely nice for the cooldown, and obviously damage on nukers is important.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like he's unusable without the books, and should be very good overall for you. On, in fact, he might be useful in a lot of other content too.
Yeah, yeah. I was he was gonna be my next 6-star, and then I pulled Calvalax, so Calvalax became the 6-star, and then I
Yeah,
just haven't been playing the game the last
probably a
couple of
good choice
days
though.
while I was getting better. So now that I'm back, good to go. Grind, grind, grind. Get caught up on legendaries and get a, or not legendary, 6-stars, get a few more done, and probably Armiger, Magnar are the next couple. I think I'll probably keep Haikatoon at 40. I'm really just using her for the aura and the boost. um we'll see how well Fire Knight goes. That may completely change, but I really think getting him this relic off of Alice is going to be a big deal, and then she's going to do even more damage, which is going to be really good. So,
Yeah,
uh,
that's going to help a lot. I mean, to be fair, I would actually think about as much as obviously, well, you're using LS everywhere, so it makes sense to put that
yeah.
on her. The only reason I would think about maybe putting it on somebody else instead is to spread your damage out just a little bit for Arena, so that if you have Magnar, he also gets some of that stuff as well.
Hmm.
But honestly, he might just end up with one of the other ones that helps you with some damage, and he actually gets bonus damage from HP. So any relic that gives you HP is probably good.
Yeah.
So we should probably actually head over to my channel and record this video though,
Yes.
so we don't get this thing too long. 7 hours later, you guys, we're still talking. We probably could talk all
Oh,
day.
we could talk all day. I always love it when I get to do collabs with Bront because I'm always in his chat and we're talking back and forth. He's in my chat. We're talking back and forth. We just love doing that. So we'll end it here. Thanks again, Bront, for coming on the channel. And thanks to you guys for watching. Just a quick shout out and reminder that February 11th, I will be doing a birthday stream, or sorry, I said February 11th. February 22nd, I will be doing a birthday stream at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So if you can make it, please consider doing so. And if you haven't already done so, please consider clicking that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.
Bye.